I am pleased to welcome everyone here this morning as the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, and by extension, the Government of Dominica, accepts yet again a very timely and significant donation of medical supplies. Today, this donation is presented by the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. As a ministry, we have continued to partner and collaborate with other countries, organizations, groups for various causes, and this time we are doing so in an effort to eradicate COVID-19. Many of you are aware of the interventions that the Ministry of Health and by extension the government have been implementing. This, however, requires resources of all kinds and very importantly, medical supplies. It is for this reason that we are here this morning, and I therefore extend a heartfelt welcome to everyone present. As we continue with our program, I would like to invite our first speaker, His Excellency Jose Moros, Ambassador of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to Dominica.
Thank you. Well, good morning. Okay. Good morning. Okay. So, good morning. Let me recognize the presence of Honorable Reynald Ostry, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Dr. Irving McIntyre, Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Your Excellency Dr. Kenneth DeRoe, Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations, Ms. Leticia Lestrade, Permanent Secretary acting in the Ministry of Health, Mrs. Barbara Daly, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Minister Consular of the Embassy of Venezuela, Luis Quijada, the media, thank you for coming. Well, we are here today, the 14th of 2020, to hand over medical supply sent to Dominica by the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela as a way of expressing that Dominica counts on Venezuela, even in the most difficult times. The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, as has said before, is facing one of the most complex economic and financial situations in his history. 3 years ago, the government of the most powerful country in this continent declared an economic and financial war to Venezuela. And since then, Venezuela has been subject to power abuse, theft of assets, blocking of international accounts, and prohibition of bank transfers, and a large number of various sanctions that culminate in the most recent threat of naval blockade, or sea blockade. All of this with the sole objective of overthrowing the last Bolivarian elected in free and transparent elections in Venezuela, and by the majority of the people. This situation, as you know, has inevitably caused a decrease in the level of cooperation and solidarity that our beloved Republic of Venezuela was used to sharing. But have no doubt, it is our goal to free ourselves from these sanctions and blockades, to redeploy our resources for the benefit of our Latin American and Caribbean region. My dear comrades, world is changing. We cannot predict the future, but we can try to prepare ourselves to face it. COVID-19, as rude as it is giving the world a lesson in more than one way. It's like it's asking us where our priorities are. I ask to God that this humble gesture of solidarity between the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and the Commonwealth of Dominica serve as an example to send a message of unity and fraternity, because we are in this together. It's not happening just in one country, it's happening in the world. It's happening in our Caribbean region. So we need to stay together and remember that the most important value is not what is in our pockets, but in the person who is next to us. I take this opportunity to express my admiration and gratefulness for the leadership of the government of Dominica and for the follow of its people in the fight against the spreading of coronavirus in Dominica, and for the implementation of the policies and measures with the priority of saving lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Our next presenter this morning is the Honorable Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Dr. Irvin McIntyre.
You can sit here if you want.
Just switch your chair. Take your chair.
This one? Mm-hmm. Okay. Pleasant good morning to everyone gathered here today. Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development. Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations. Honorable Edward Regis, Minister of State for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations. His Excellency Jose Moro Savelli, Ambassador of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela to Dominica. Ms. Letitia Lestrade White, Permanent Secretary, acting the Ministry of Health. Ms. Barbara Daly, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dr. Kevin Ferrara, Chief Medical Officer, acting. Jasmine Lambert, CMS Director. Other representatives of the Venezuelan Embassy and of the Ministry of Health, and you, the media. Pleasant good morning to everyone here today.
Good morning.
Today marks another milestone. Today is a great day for both the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, the government and people of Venezuela, and the government and people of Dominica. It's another great day because we can see how friendship can be extended when needed, a friend in need, a friend indeed, as we mentioned before. And it just shows the solidarity between the two nations. This is, that's not the first time that Venezuela has come to our assistance, and it means a lot to us. They've been here for us in the past as regards to our different health projects, as regards to our different infrastructural projects. And for this, we're very grateful. And today is just another day, another extension of the help and the assistance that Venezuela is helping us here in Dominica. This time it happened to be COVID-19. It has been done before. This time it's COVID-19, but it's still help, it's still assistance, and it's still a collaboration going on between the two countries, which we look forward to continue in the future. And there might be other situations, and the people of Venezuela, the government of Venezuela, have always been there for us, and we're extremely grateful for that in this regard. Having said this, we recognize the fact that fighting COVID-19 is an international exercise, and all countries must be on board. That is the only way we can fight it. There must be an international approach. And the mere fact that two countries can come together and join hands to fight this COVID-19, it just shows our resolve, and it just shows our effort. And that's actually the best way that we can actually fight COVID-19. I understand also that the Venezuelan government has also reached out to other countries in the Caribbean, such as St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada. So we see it's really a combined approach between the Venezuelan government and some of our OECS countries, which we're very grateful for. And what makes it even more significant is when you consider the present geopolitical scenario and the different economic sanctions put against Venezuela. And in spite of all of this, the Republic can come to our assistance. It really means a lot. In spite of all what they're going through, they can make an effort to lend a hand to the people and the government of Dominica. And that makes it just so significant, and for this we're extremely grateful to the people of and the government of Venezuela. These supplies that we're receiving today, which is 3,000 rapid COVID tests and 50 reagents for PCR machine testing, this will go a long way as regards our preparedness, both in protecting the people of Dominica and our frontline workers. So this is really a great day for us, that we can feel more comfortable with our people out there at the front and also with the public in general. So this means a lot to us, and we're just so grateful. But in these present times, since we don't want too many of us to be in one room at any one time and we're social distancing, I will not continue much more, but I will say, Ambassador, we are very, very grateful to the people and the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. We're extremely grateful, and we really look forward to further continued collaboration between the two countries. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Let me recognize also the presence of Honorable Kent Edwards, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, who has joined us, and our Chief Medical Officer Acting, Dr. Curtin Ferraro. The program is not going to be long. Again, we really consider social distancing. So I now welcome the Honorable Reginald Ustry, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, who is going to give some remarks. Your chair. No, his chair. Minister.
Like so?
Right.
Thank you very much, PS. Let me recognize the presence of Dr. McIntyre, Minister for Health, Dr. Darrow, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Minister Edwards from the Ministry of Health, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Mauro, Medical Director Acting, other senior members of the Ministry of Health, other senior members of the Ministry of the Venezuelan Embassy, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all apologize for the absence of the Prime Minister from this very important function, though simple, because we all would realize that for the last 2 or 3 weeks, he has been on a marathon at the forefront of leading this country and leading this nation in the fight against COVID-19. Every day, including Saturdays, Sundays, Easter Monday, every day for him is like a normal working day, working up to 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the nights that I know of, and I'm sure much later than that, trying to see how we can conquer this invisible enemy. Since the deepening and strengthening of the relationship between Dominica and Venezuela, particularly following the signing on to the Petro-Carib and the ALBA agreements, Dominica can say that we have received tremendous assistance from the government and people of Venezuela in a number of fields, in a number of areas. And because of COVID-19 and our need to get out of this closed environment as quickly as possible, I'm not going to venture into mentioning all the areas where we have received assistance from the government of Venezuela. But just to know that in terms of infrastructure, education, housing, economics, social development, we have been truly blessed, and sometimes we can't even measure it in terms of the finances. Today is yet another practical demonstration of what has grown to be more than a diplomatic relation, but a relationship of friendliness and brotherhood between our countries. What is significant about today's presentation of medical equipment to the government and people of Dominica to assist in the fight against COVID-19, two things are very significant. One, in that in Venezuela itself, they have their own challenges too, and they have found it fit and necessary to share their limited resources, because as you will well know, that medical equipment to fight COVID is almost like gold now all around the world, including some of the most, what we would consider to be some of the most prosperous countries in the world. And so to have Venezuela with its millions and millions of inhabitants, not knowing when this disease is going to be defeated, and to find it fit and necessary to share with the less fortunate brothers and sisters, not only in Dominica, but all across the globe, is in fact remarkable. And really, Ambassador, it's living up to the spirit of our fallen hero, Brother Chavez and Maduro, to assist less fortunate countries all across the globe. I think this is very, very significant. The other significant aspect, as was mentioned by Dr. McIntyre, is Venezuela itself having to face its own socio-economic and political situation, which we all know about. Had it given space to breathe, as it were, and to be able, in those circumstances, to be able to reach out to its friends and neighbors, this is also very, very significant and is very noteworthy. I want to say to Ambassador that the government and people of Dominica, as it stands, will be forever grateful to all the assistance that you have given to us in the past, and I dare say will continue in the future, because we hold this relationship very, very close to our heart. It's very dear to us and very important to us, not because of what we can receive from you, but because of the principle that you have demonstrated over the years in, one, looking out for humanity, but also standing on principle, and to pick the most difficult battles because of your principle stance on various international stage and situations. I would like to call on other countries and other institutions with much more resources than that of Venezuela to reach out to those countries that are less fortunate, not just to Dominica, but there are many, many, many countries in the world who are really feeling the brunt of COVID because they don't have the means and the resources with which to fight it. And so this gesture by Venezuela should send a signal to the rest of the world that it doesn't matter how small the contribution you can make, but just to know that you have friends out there who are looking out for you, it does go a very long way. I would like at this time to salute our frontline workers. And I'm not going to name them all this morning, but particularly our health professionals who have dropped everything, including family, babies, children, to be on the front line of this very dangerous war. I know in many countries that health professionals themselves are not immune from the brunt of COVID. From my own constituency, I know 2 or 3 of nurses in the US who have in fact contracted the disease, working to help others to combat the disease. And so they too are under high risk. Thank God, up to today, to my knowledge, that none of our frontline medical workers have been infected. I don't know, Doc, if I'm correct in saying that. And that shows the level of planning that went into our preparation for COVID. And I'll always say, our success, if you can consider it a success in fighting the disease, is because of the plans that we put in place before the arrival of the disease. We had the hospitals that were set up. Our medical professionals were trained, a number of training programs. And so our people were well prepared to fight that disease. And that preparation is now showing. And we must thank, really, all the people on the front line. But like I say, particularly those in the medical field who have given their life, really, to the saving of this country. Because this disease can well wipe out a generation. If we're not careful, it can well wipe out an entire generation. That may sound impossible, but you have passed 1 million deaths now across the world, I think. And even in the region, we have had several deaths. And if not brought under control as quickly as possible, we really do not know what the future of the world, especially in our region, it holds. I want to say too that this is just the first battle or first challenge against COVID. COVID will leave in its wake many, many challenges for all the countries, including Dominica. We're going to have an economy to rebuild. We're going to have to restore the strength of our people and the hope of our people. And that too is a battle that we need to prepare to fight. As soon as COVID disappears, or even while we're fighting COVID, we have to be thinking of how to sustain the economic and social livelihoods of our people. Finally, I want to reassure our brothers from Venezuela that you have the support of the people and the government of Dominica in your present day challenges. And I'd like to call for an end to the political persecution of Venezuela. I would like to call for an end to the provocation of Venezuela. We in Dominica, while we do not get involved in the internal affairs of sovereign countries, but we believe that there are means by which matters can be resolved. We believe in the peaceful resolution of such matters. And we'd like to call on the international community, let us seek and find a peaceful resolution to the problems now being faced in Venezuela. We do not believe that civil war will solve the problem. In fact, that has proven to create more problems in other parts of the world. And so I would like to join our other CARICOM brothers and sisters in calling for a peaceful solution, a peaceful resolution to the problems now being undergone in Venezuela. Thank you very much. May God bless our country. May God bless the relationship between Dominica and Venezuela. And we hope that very, very shortly, Venezuela can come out of its isolation, so to speak, and maintain its pride and place in the international and global community. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Ostry. And we are almost at the end of the program. I would just like to express thanks on behalf of the Ministry of Health to all those present there, Honorable Minister Ostry, or Minister of Health, Minister of Foreign Affairs. I know for some of us, it was a long weekend, but for some of us, it was a full working weekend. And these are the things that we are doing in our effort to fight COVID-19. And so I am pleased that you were able to join us this morning. Thank you, Ambassador, our good friend, Ambassador, for this gesture on behalf of the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Before we end the program, we now have the handing over. We have no handshakes, but we can do the elbows, so I would invite Ambassador Jose to present to the Honorable Minister of Health a sample of what was presented to us.
Bien. In the name of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. In the name of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, as a gesture of solidarity, to remember that in the most difficult times, friends came up to help.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you everyone for coming. That's the end of our program.